Yo, what is up? What's poppin'? You know it ain't no stopping. It is your boy, the International Sin. Say, keep it right, keep it tight, and above all, please, baby, please talk to me nice. If we are here in the town, we're talking about the masters. We're talking about the people that talk with the blasters. We are talking about the casters. Something look shit. Sometimes like that one missed horribly, but hey, we're gonna keep it rocking and rolling, keep the show going. Sometimes my bars hit, sometimes they don't land, but it's okay. Anyway, back to the casters. I'm gonna break down the best duos. I might throw in some of my favorites in there as well, but just like the pairings. I mean, I would say there's like three pairings just baseline, and obviously like you'll have like a person that can like bridge the gap between both of them and things like that in certain games. But in casting you have like, of course you have like the scientist of the game and you have the hype man of the game. So depending on the setting that you're in, you're gonna favor one style over the other. Sometimes you're gonna need one of each. Sometimes you're gonna need two of each, whatever. So I would say like depending on what situation you're in is what you're gonna try to tailor your event towards. So the first one I'm gonna say is the dual scientist of the game, the guys that can kind of break down the game in a relatively interesting way. You don't want to be like a freaking like a robot saying, "Oh, well, this is +6, this is this like this that and the other." Those guys, I would say like you put like the two like very like scientific players. I would say early pool rounds like the I would say that because like it kind of like builds up. So I would say like early pools, maybe like top 32. You might want to fold in a hype guy in there every now and then. But I will say the guys, even though they're scientists, they can get hype. But their main thing is focusing on the action, just focusing on like the little details here and there. So I would say like scientist type of casters, the guys that like really focus on the frames, focus on uh like situations, little setups and things like that. Those that's where like I think they best fit. I would say early pools like the that like up to like top 32 or something like that, even like earlier to like top 16. And then after like pools and stuff ends and you get the qualification for top 8, and normally that goes on like a Sunday. I would say you always want to have, from my experience, you always want to have a scientist and you want to have a hype guy. Now I've been in situations where the person with me was lacking a lot of knowledge in the game, so I had to be the science and I had to be the hype. And I mean that does kind of suck, especially because here's what happens sometimes: you'll get a person that doesn't know a lot, because like there's times where people will get placed in situations because of whatever reason. I'm not gonna go into detail about that, and they might not know enough, or they might just be there just because they're quote unquote known in the scene, but not known for your game, and you have to pick up the slack, and that's gonna happen, guys. I mean, this is a relatively, in a lot of ways, a relatively new, not necessarily new skill, but a new concept of guys casting a bunch and going to these big events and having major slot times and stuff like that. So it's relatively new, and I would say it is very tough, but it does help. It helps you kind of grow from the standpoint of, okay, if I'm ever in this situation again, I'm good because I understand that I could be scientific when I need to be, but I could see each of those hype moments, and when I need to go on a run, I'm good. The only thing that you have to worry about is being with the person that the cutoff person, which I don't like. So what I say about a cutoff person, I know I'm rambling a bit. I'm gonna get back to my point. But the cutoff guy is a person like when you're casting, and I mean you're going, you're like, oh my goodness, he just hit him with the down two, and now he's going for the setup. Can he block the setup? Oh, he didn't block it. It is all out. Like stuff like that. Like when you're going, and then that person that's with you, like they keep trying to end. They keep trying to end it. Like they keep trying to end what you're saying because they want to say something so bad, and that's the worst thing to have. Like I love it. Like I'm the type of person, like if I'm casting with someone and I see they're going off, like I'll ad lib. I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, ooh, ooh, like stuff like that. Like you almost like when you want to be you almost want to be like the spice. Like so like they're prepared like that them going off with this hype moment. That's the meal. and you just want to add like that little spice in the background, and you like, and once you see that they're done, like they blew out all their energy, then that's when you come in and you pick up where they left off. But the worst thing is that person that's like, like they just keep wanting to freaking talk. I'm like, dude, like you messing me up. Like, you're messing me up, and then you're messing the moment up, because now like because there's a lot of people that pay attention heavy to it. Because there's times like I'll go back and look at like chats and stuff like that, and be like, oh man, like what's his name was going off, but his co-commentator was cutting him off every chance that he had. And this is not even just for me. I'm seeing it for like I'm talking about top level guys that get flown all over the world and stuff like that. And it sucks, man, because like when you have that, it messes you up. But then you have like the perfect example, I would say, of guys that mesh is like the Tasty Jam, like Tasty Steve and Say Jam, where it's like, okay, I got the scientific dude in Say Jam that also can get hype, but then I have Tasty Steve, the hype monster, who's just going. But Steve knows when to let Say Jam do his thing, and then Say Jam knows when to cut his stuff off and let Steve do his thing. And that does come with practice, obviously. But then there's also some guys that just want that control. You know what I mean? So it happens, though. I mean, it sucks, but it does happen. But yeah, I would say scientist and hype, those two need to be together for top eights. I would say that. And then a hype dude and a hype dude, just like this two hype monsters, the hype squad, for like house streams, party streams, like team tournament streams. So I would say like ABO, I would say like that was like almost like a party stream, house stream type of thing. It was a very serious tournament, but it was such a laid back vibe to where you can't like go off and curse and say a whole bunch of controversial stuff. But it's more about having fun. It's more about being more lively and things like that. Of course, you have to keep the run of show, but you're like every moment was a hype moment. So you're just getting live. You're just getting lit. You're just having a good time. So, hype is when that succeeds the most. Another example would be shout out to my boy Uncle Jay. We did a team tournament, Tekken team tournament in Kumite in Tennessee, KIT 2020 for Tekken, and it was so much fun. Like we would obviously we would talk about the match, we would talk about elements of the game, but we were just having so much fun. I mean, we were just like throwing bars out there here and there. I mean, messing around with the people in the crowd. The camera was panning over. We were telling the cameraman to do certain stuff. Like that's when you need like two hype monsters, because nothing too serious is on the line. But you want the audience to feel like there's something on the line. You want the audience to be like, oh, damn, like, we need those two back together again. Now, granted, we might not get a slot for a top 8, but we'll definitely get a team tournament slot. Or if they're having, like, a big first to 5, we'll get that slot. You know what I mean? So that's when you want to pair those off. And another thing about pairing commentators is understanding... I would say one is understanding when you don't know as much as the other person and having to fall back into a hype role. And the other one is understanding that sometimes you're gonna get a spot with someone that you either don't know or worse come to worse, someone that's just not necessarily bad, but they fit better in a solo role. Because I've had that happen, and I've seen it where you're with somebody, and this happened to me a while ago. I'm not gonna say tournament, no name, no nothing, but where the person just kept talking, and there's a difference. Like, there's some people that talk a lot, but when they see you getting ready to interject, they cut it. But this person, like, they talk, and they would take a breath. And the second they breathe, like they would take a breath, and you would try to go in, they just jump right over you, and I'm like, damn. And it's bad too, because there's times like you have like cameras on your face and things like that, so you gotta kind of play it off, and you gotta just kind of like sag back, like, all right, I'm just let them have it. But it does get very frustrating. So that's just a warning to people to make sure that you are cognizant of that. If you're that person, or if you're with that person, just like sometimes it's gonna be an L that you gotta take. Don't get upset. Don't rage. Just like take it on the chin. It's a learning experience. Now you know in the future, uh, I wouldn't say like request to not be with that person, but in the future, just maybe take them to the side and be like, hey man, like look, I like working with you, but like you gotta like take a breather, like you gotta take a breath, and then when you take a breath and I'm talking, you can't jump over what I'm saying because now it's just there's two dueling heads, and there'll be times where obviously, oh my god, there was I think it was like a local tournament and the guy got I think it was a smash tournament or something, and the guy got so upset that the guy just kept cutting him off. He just got up and left. He was like, "Dude, I'm not dealing with this." And don't do that. Do not do that. Look, like just like suffer in silence. Finish the stream out the best that you can, and then pull that person to the side. Don't get upset and walk off and stuff like that because it just makes you look bad. But it can be very frustrating just because like you work so hard to learn the game, you work so hard to study it, and then you want to like it's almost like you want to add the flavor to the show. So the game of course is like that steak dinner, but you want to make sure that steak dinner is seasoned right. You know what I mean? You got to make sure that like you got the right wine with it, or you have the right beer with it, or whatever the right accessories, the sides and stuff to go with it. That's kind of like what the commentary is. It's like that extra bit that makes that dinner that much more pleasurable. You know what I mean? So it's tough though. It's tough, but it is a learning experience, man. I would say be able to be versatile enough to do all styles. That's where I think I am. Depending on the game, obviously, like my Tekken game, I'm purely hype because I don't know the game enough, and to be like a pure scientist. And then and what will happen sometimes. This is also something I'm gonna touch on. So I'm touching on a lot of shit, but uh, commentating multiple games, sometimes like in your head things will cross over, and that happens to me. So do not get up like uh don't get discouraged. I mean, it happens, and people are going to talk about it. Like, it don't matter. I mean, like, half the people that talk about it don't have the balls to get up and commentate, or aren't professional enough to commentate. So, just keep pushing on that end. I mean, it will happen. I don't care how good you are. It will happen. Um, like, whether it's a newbie, I know I've seen professionals say the wrong thing every now and then. It happens, bro. Like, nobody is perfect. I don't care how much you study something. No one is perfect. Everyone makes mistakes, and it happens. But yeah, I would just say get your reps in, mix and match with different styles. Don't get comfortable with the person. Like have your running mate. Like I have my people that I love to commentate with. I have my people that are like my partners in crime that I love to rock with. Like when I'm doing Power Rangers, I love doing with Red Saint. When I do Injustice, Romanova, Aquaman, Big D, the new one, Savage, like not Injustice. I already said Injustice. MK, doing it with Mr. Aquaman. Hand Rose was a really good one. So it just depends, like you know what I mean. And of course, there's other people that I enjoy commentating with that I'm just not mentioning right now. But oh yeah, Tekken, Uncle J. It really just depends. But get in there with different personalities. Get in there with different types of people. Because the one thing you need to be is adaptable. So you need to be able to adapt to certain situations. So if you're with the hype guy and you could tell this is like a hype stream, this isn't like nothing super duper professional, but this is something that people are going to see. They want to be able to see you be hype and be entertaining without being disrespectful, without cursing, without throwing stuff, without acting a fool, but being interesting and being animated. Or is it going to be a situation where it's early, you need to really analyze these matches, like in pools, like talk about like the like backstory of the tournament, who's favored to win it and stuff like that. Have that knowledge and be able to ping pong stuff off of each other, in like the pool setting, and then top eight. That's when you gotta kind of mix and match. You gotta have that science in there, but you gotta have that hype. You gotta have that energy because more often than not, the top eight is gonna have some crazy moments because that's when the best eight players are gonna be in there. But man, with that being said, all my casters, man, keep pushing, keep grinding. Like I've said this before. Pick a game that you love. Do not just go for the top game. Don't like if you don't like Street Fighter, if you don't like Tekken, if you don't like MK, if you don't like Smash, whatever game you like, that's the game you need to be casting because I